Hello to parents of students in Year 8 and Year 9. My name is Mr. Parry and I am part of the Raising Standards team here at Parry Academy. As it's been quite a while since your child received their last progress report from us, and they are due to receive their summer 2021 progress report on Friday the 16th of July, we thought it would be a good idea to make this video just to explain some of the key information that is going to be contained on those reports, just so both you and your child are clear on exactly what that information means. So here's an example of the report that you will be receiving shortly. This is a Year 9 report. The Year 8 report is very similar, although on the Year 9 report there is one additional piece of information that doesn't appear on the Year 8 report. At the top section there, that part is all about your child's attendance, merits and the behaviour points that they have been given this year. Underneath that, you've got their engagement with learning grades across each of their subject areas. And the section at the bottom there is their current progress in each of their subjects. On the Year 9 report, you will see this additional piece of information here, which is a most likely outcome grade. My aim in this video is to briefly talk through each of those sections in a little more detail. Hopefully I'll manage to cover everything, but if I don't, please do get in contact with your child's tutor, who will be able to give you further information should that be required. So the first section is all about attendance, merits and behaviour points. That is the section at the top of the report. And as you can see on the left hand side, we've got some information. Joe's attendance in comparison to the year group attendance. So we can see here that Joe has, this year, he's achieved an attendance percentage of 93.8%. The year group average is 95.2%. So Joe's a little bit below the year group average. But the good side of it here is that underneath there we can see that Joe's attendance last year was 92.1%. So he has managed to improve on his figure from last year. Underneath that we have two numbers. This represents the number of lessons that Joe has missed so far this year as a result of his absence, and we've also got a comparison there with the year group. So that's the average number of lessons a student at Penrice in that particular year group has missed this year so far. If you're more of a visual person like I am, over on the right hand side we've just got these bar charts which we can see where Joe, his current percentage for this year is 93.8%, and just in comparison to his attendance last year, again we can see that attendance figure is moving in a positive direction. Over on the left hand side we have some information about the merits that Joe's received in lessons, or maybe outside of lessons as well, for any extracurricular activities he might have participated in, home learning, etc. Joe's so far got 113 merits, in comparison to the year group average, which is just under 117. Again, we've got the bar charts on the right to show that data. And then the behaviour points that Joe has been given this year, he's only had one, which is fantastic. Year group average is about 9 per student. And on the right hand side, once again, we've got the bar charts to show that data. That is the attendance, merits and behaviour points section. So moving on to section 2, which is all about engagement with learning. So the engagement with learning grade is given on a 5-point scale, starting at support required and going up to exceptional. It is the only grade on the report that is actually decided by the classroom teacher. The teacher will think carefully about each student and apply some set criteria to see where they think they are in terms of their engagement with learning. Now, engagement with learning does take into account the learning habits presented in classroom, also through home learning, and also during our period of remote learning while we were in lockdown. On the left hand side we can see that for this particular student, they are confident, their engagement with learning is confident in English, maths, science, and I think that's probably history underneath. They are progressing. On the right hand side there are some comments there which have been chosen from a comment bank by the teacher, and the comment will best describe the learning habits that this student presents in lessons frequently. I should make it clear that with regards to the engagement with learning comment, because they are taken from a question bank, It is quite common that you might see comments repeated across subject areas, and all that means is that the student is presenting the same engagement with learning habits in different subject areas. Now, as I said before, when it comes to choosing the engagement with learning grade, the classroom teacher will apply some set criteria which has been discussed and agreed within subject areas. And here's an example of the criteria for maths. And I'll just quickly go through the difference, just to show you the difference between a student who we believe is working at an exceptional level in comparison with confident and progressing. So with a focus on home learning, if you can see that second statement there, it says the student completes their homework every week and always reattempts questions where improvements can be made. That is for exceptional. Underneath here, the student completes their homework every week and regularly reattempts questions where improvements can be made. That is for confident. And down at the bottom there, we can see the student completes their homework regularly and occasionally reattempts questions where improvements can be made. And that is the difference between exceptional, confident, and progressing. Now, it's highly unlikely that a student would meet all of the criteria in any one category, so it's always going to be a best fit model that the teacher will use when trying to decide on the engagement with learning grade that student should be awarded for that round of reporting. So section 3 is your child's current progress in each of their subject areas. And again, we've got another example here. Once again, just like with engagement with learning, the current progress grade is given on a 5-point scale, starting at support required and moving up to exceptional. Now, this grade is not determined, or it's not decided by the classroom teacher. It is calculated using a computer algorithm which will look at key stage 2 data from the SATs and also the most recent assessment data that we have collected in school, and it will look at the progress that has been made from the end of year 6 to where your child is currently. Again, on the left hand side we can see that this student, where they are with their current progress in each of those 4 subject areas. So we've got history, at the bottom there is progressing, science emerging, maths support required, and English progressing. And possibly the most important part of the progress report is this section on the right hand side, and this is the teacher's improvement target for each subject, and this will be tailored towards exactly what your child needs to do in order to improve, to raise their progress in each of their subject areas. And if there's one thing to really focus on with your child, I would encourage you to get them to try and take on board that feedback and act on that feedback, and then hopefully whatever their progress grade was this time round, if they do act on that feedback, we'd hope to see an improvement on the next round of reporting. Just to give you a really basic example of how the current progress grade is calculated. So we start with our key stage 2 assessment data, which will be the average point score in your child's SATs when they were in primary school in year 6. And we look at the most recent assessment data, and it's all about that journey from key stage 2 up to where they are now. And again, this is very basic. It's actually a really complex algorithm that's used to calculate current progress, but your child will have a starting point, and based on the progress that they've made since that starting point, they will be awarded either an exceptional, confident, progressing, emerging, or a support required current progress grade. Moving on to the last bit. Now, this is the most likely outcome. This does only appear on the year 9 progress reports. Parents of year 8 students, you might want to watch this bit as well, because this will more than likely also be included on your child's report at the end of the year, end of next year, should I say. The most likely outcome is the grade that your child is most likely to achieve, based on the data that we have, if their current progress continues at the rate it is at the moment for the next 2 years. It is based on their most recent assessment data, so I know that year 9s, they recently participated in the Experience Exams Week, and some of that assessment data, along with other assessment data that has been collected throughout the year, will be used to project forward where your child is likely to finish in terms of their final GCSE grade, should they continue at the expected rate of progress. Most subjects on there are graded from 9 to 1. You have got some subjects, you can see a couple at the bottom there, child development, health and social care, and there are some others which are graded on the distinction, merit and pass scale. We've also got subgrades included, so you can see with English it's 7 equal. That means the child is sitting in the middle of that grade. Maths is a 7 minus there, and that means that they're just into that grade, and they need to definitely work hard to make sure that they don't slip into a grade 6. And then you've also got the plus, which means that the student is working right at the top of that grade, or we're expecting them to achieve a grade right at the top of the grade 8, which means with a bit more hard work that could quite possibly turn into a grade 9. I should add here that these grades are projected, they are predictions, nothing is set in stone. These grades are generated based on where your child is currently at and the progress that we would expect a student to make over the next 2 years. These grades obviously can change, they can move up or down, and that will be, a lot of that will be determined by the engagement with learning and the progress that your child makes over the next 2 years. And I would again just go back to those improvement targets on the current progress section of the report, and again just encourage you to speak to your child about those improvement targets and get them to act on them, and hopefully that would ensure that the grades that you see there in the most likely outcomes would be achieved, and hopefully they'd be improved on by the time they get to year 11. And that's it from me. I'm hoping that has given you a good insight into what all of the information means on your child's progress report. Wishing you a fantastic summer, a peaceful summer, a restful summer, a blessed summer. And we look forward to, obviously next week is Curriculum Enrichment Week if you're watching this today. And we look forward to that, but also we look forward to the new year and the new challenges that year 10 and year 9 will bring to your child from September. Thank you very much, and see you soon.